How is special education funding allocated to public schools? Have you ever wondered how public schools get the funds they need to support students with disabilities? It's a complex process that involves multiple sources of funding. Let's break it down step by step. At the federal level, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is the main source of funding. This law provides categorical grants to states to help with early intervention and special education services. The funding is divided into two parts: Part B for children ages 3 to 21, and Part C for infants and toddlers from birth to age 2. The federal government aims to cover about 10% of the total education budget for students with disabilities, but this amount can change each year based on various factors. Once the federal funds reach the states, they combine these with their own revenue to allocate money to local education agencies, which are the school districts. States often use funding formulas to determine how much money each district gets. These formulas typically consider the number of students with disabilities and the estimated costs of educating them. Some states even use a weighted funding system, where students with more significant disabilities receive more funding to reflect their higher educational needs. Local funding plays a big role too, primarily coming from property taxes. This local funding often covers most of the costs associated with special education services. However, this can create disparities between districts. Wealthier areas can generate more revenue, leading to better resources for their students. Many states try to address this issue by adjusting their funding formulas to provide more support to districts with greater needs or lower wealth. The process of funding allocation generally involves several key steps. First, students with disabilities are identified and categorized based on their specific needs. This categorization influences the funding level assigned to each student. Next, states apply their funding formulas, which assign weights or multipliers based on disability categories and other factors like district size and property wealth. After that, the funds are distributed to school districts according to these formulas, combining federal funds with state and local revenues. Finally, districts often supplement the state and federal funds with local resources to cover the full costs of special education services. These services can include specialized instruction, related services like speech therapy, and assistive technology. It's important to note that special education services are usually more expensive than general education. The average cost per student can be 2 to 3 times higher. However, the gap between the actual costs and the funding provided means that local districts often have to shoulder a significant financial burden. Understanding how special education funding is allocated is essential for advocating for adequate resources and support for students with disabilities. It highlights the need for fair distribution of funds to ensure that every student receives the education and services they deserve.